and welcome back to Veggies by EOS. Today I want to make a different type of video. I'm actually a teacher. I'm a high school teacher and I teach science. And so since back to school season starting up, I wanted to go ahead and share with you guys what I personally do for the first day of school. And I am a second year teacher, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I haven't been doing this super long. I just wanted to share my ideas because I personally liked what I did for the first day, and maybe it'll give you some inspiration or some ideas to do something similar. One thing I like to do in my classroom, just like on an everyday basis, is I'll have the agenda for the day, and then the very first thing will be in red, and it will be something they need to do either before class starts or at the start of class, depending on what it is. Sometimes it's just pick up a worksheet on the front table, which obviously they should do as they're walking in, and sometimes it's gonna be like a question of the day. But I went ahead and for today, it said to pick up your safety contract and then take a seat anywhere, since I didn't make a seating chart yet. And real quick, for the you can sit anywhere today, the past 2 semesters I've done this, I had already assigned seats and had them sit in assigned seats the first day, but something that I have them do on the first day is fill out a questionnaire, and part of that is, do you have seating preference? Like, do you need to sit in the front or do you need to sit in the back for whatever reason? And I find that, like, why would I have a seating chart for the first day, give that out, and then not reassign seats for a couple of weeks when, you know, I might have put a kid that needs to sit in the front and the back and vice versa. So I decided, you know, first day I'm not going to assign seats because I'm sure something's going to be wrong. So I'm really glad that I didn't assign seats yet. I'm going to go ahead and do that over the weekend, which, by the way, kind of weird. Our school started on a Friday, so by over the weekend, I actually do have a weekend between now, which is the first day of school, and Monday, which will be our second day of school with all the kids there. So anyway, they read the red thing so they know what they're supposed to do. And I teach 2 freshman classes, and then my other classes are kind of mixed. Chemistry is mainly sophomores, physics mainly juniors and seniors, but you know, all of them are kind of mixed. So my sophomores, juniors, seniors, like, they all just picked up the safety contract. For a lot of it, I was out in the hallway greeting people as they came into my classroom, so I wasn't in there to tell them. If I was in the classroom, then I said, like, you know, hi, grab a safety contract, take a seat. But yeah, for most of my classes, I was out in the hallway, and then I come in, you know, and the bell rings, and everyone has a safety contract on their desk, which is really nice. They already figured out to do that on their own without me even telling them. My freshman classes, on the other hand, they did not do that on their own. I did have to tell them, hey, you know, read the board, you know, hi, get a safety contract, go ahead, have a seat. So that is one interesting thing. All my upperclassmen did it, and I don't think any of the freshmen did. So just one thing to keep in mind, you know, if you only teach freshmen or you only teach upperclassmen, you might want to change up what you're doing. So when the bell rings, just first things first, I'll let them know that that's going to be like the daily thing, you know, read the board, read the red thing of whatever's going on today, and then I make sure everyone picked up the contract. And then after that, as you can see in the agenda, is introductions, and I like to just quickly introduce myself, my name, how long I've taught there, so, you know, this is my second year. Another thing I like to do, just as a way for them to get to know me more and make it a little bit fun, is I do 2 truths and a lie for myself. So for my 2 truths and a lie, what I like to do is I say, one of them is I'm in 2 bands, which is true. I play in 2 jazz bands, I play saxophone, so I think that's important for them to know. And you know, some kids are in bands, some like music, so they can relate to me that way. Now they know that I'm in bands, you know, I play the saxophone. My second point is that my favorite food is cheeseburgers with everything on them, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I'm a vegetarian, so that's obviously the lie because I'm a vegetarian. And then, you know, I can tell them that, which sometimes, I did have one student today that said she was vegetarian. Last semester I actually had 3 vegetarians in one class, so that was super cool. So a really cool way to relate to them. And then my third fact is I have a 10-year-old daughter, and so obviously I know I look young. Clearly, I mean, I am pretty young. So when we do the 2 truths and 1 lie, when they hear the last one, I have a 10-year-old daughter, pretty much all of them raise their hand to say that's the lie, because I mean, clearly I don't look like I have a 10-year-old daughter. I look pretty young. And so once we all vote and I go through it, I end up saying that the cheeseburger is the lie. Then they're like, wait, what? You have a 10-year-old daughter? And I'm like, yeah, I'll go ahead and show you a picture. And then I click to the next slide, and it's actually a picture of my dog, Kaya, which if you've seen any of my other videos, she's in some of them. I'll insert some pictures here. But yeah, so then I show the picture of Kaya, so some of them laugh, some of them say that doesn't count. One of them said, they're like, oh, so like she's your daughter, but she came from another dog. And I was like, wait, did you just call me a dog? But yeah, so I just like doing the 2 truths and a lie thing for myself, because they learned that I'm into music, I'm vegetarian, I have a dog that I really love. Instead of just flat out saying that, I like doing it that way. And then we go around the room, and this is when I actually take the attendance, so I have them say their first and last name, and if they have a nickname, some of them just introduce themselves as their nickname, and then I find it on the attendance, and I write it down. And I just have them say a fun fact. I tell them if they want to do 2 truths and a lie, they can. I think like 2 kids of the whole day actually did that. But yeah, I just say give a fun fact, and if they can't think of something, I say like, hey, like what's your favorite color or something like that. Like just something small and simple. And then once everyone's introduced, like I got attendance and all that taken care of, the next thing I wanted to take care of was actually talk about the safety contract that they have on their desk. And this depended. If they were freshmen, I spent more time with it. If they were the older kids, I spent less time with it. And since I'm a science teacher, like all science classes have to do this, so this is science specific. After talking a little bit about the safety contract, I then told them it's due on Tuesday, so they need to sign it, and they need to have a parent sign it, due by Tuesday, which again, today is Friday. So they have the weekend and a day to do that. And then they also need to take a safety quiz, which is another thing mandated, just the whole school for all science classes. So we're going to be taking that quiz on Tuesday, so I let them know in advance we're going to be taking it. And yeah, that was about it for safety. So moving on to the next thing we did was I had a questionnaire for them to fill out, and it, basic stuff to get to know them. That's where I had seating preference, so I can know, like, do they need to sit in the front or do they need to sit in the back. I had one kid for seating preference, and I think I told every single class this, like, hey, that means if you sometimes don't wear your glasses, so you need to sit in the front or whatever. I had one kid write for his seating preference that he wanted to sit next to cute girls, so that's nice. So I give them some time to fill out this questionnaire, and some of them get done real quick, some take a while. Then as they're finishing up their questionnaire, because you're at that point where some are done, some are still working, I have them get their Chromebooks out, and what I'm going to talk about here was just specific to my school, but today, during every hour, we had to do some sort of technology component. With my freshmen, this took a lot longer. I basically had to go to each single student and make sure they were doing it right. Whereas with my upperclassmen, like some of this stuff, like, logging into the grade book, I had upperclassmen for that hour, so they were all like, okay, like, I know how to do that. So that ended up taking anywhere between like 3 to 10 minutes, depending on what it was that they had to do and what grade they were in or how familiar they were. Why do you have a ridge? Anyway, as I was saying, they had to do the technology thing. So when everyone was done with both their questionnaire and the technology, whatever it was for that hour, then we went ahead and moved on to doing a class survey activity, or at least that's what I call it. So I went ahead, handed it out, explained what they'd be doing, and basically, just so you could understand, they had to come up with a question, like what's your favorite food, what's your favorite color. Some came up with really creative questions. And then they had to survey as many people in the class they could. Like, it's kind of hard, when you have 25 kids in the class to actually, like, every single kid and remember, who did I ask, who did I not? But then I'm in the mix with them, so I'm trying to talk to every single student, give them my answer to their question, and me ask them a question. And it really is really hard to get to every single kid. And then you forget who you asked, and there's all like 25 new faces. So like as a teacher, like it's even a challenge to like try to get to all your new kids, ask them, answer their question. So I really like it, for 3 reasons, I guess. 1, it gets the kids up and moving and doing something. 2, it's related to science, like they're collecting data and making a graph, so that's awesome. And 3, it lets me get to know them better, and it lets them get to know each other better as well. So I really like doing this, and it kind of depends on the class, but it doesn't take super long. Like when I had first planned it last year, I thought it was going to take way longer. It really doesn't take that long, but it was nice. This was the last thing we did, so if if we're running short on time, then it's like, just get to as many people as you can. We didn't run short on time in any class though, by the way. And if we have too long of time, then once everyone's like completely done, we can kind of talk about it. Like, oh, you and you asked the same question, but your data's a little bit different. Why? So here's the weird thing. I basically did the same exact thing in all of my classes today. And like I said, I teach chemistry, physical science, and physics. So they're different kids in each. And one of my physics classes, we somehow had way extra time. The rest of my classes, this honestly worked pretty perfectly for timing. We had maybe 1 or 2 minutes left over. We have 48-minute long periods, by the way. So yeah, we got to physics and they were kind of getting near the end. They were in the middle of asking people questions, but I look at the clock and I see we have 15 minutes left, and they're getting to the point where they're starting the graph, they're kind of finishing asking people questions. And in my head, I'm like, how did I go through all these other classes and timing was pretty perfect, and now all of a sudden we have 15 minutes out of nowhere. So I gave them kind of a few more minutes to finish up the graph, and then we talked about a couple people, like I said, oh, you both had the same question, why are they different? We somehow talked about it for a little bit, and then what I decided to do, I decided to have them put GoGuardian codes in. If you're a teacher, you probably know what GoGuardian is. I was glad I had that code on backup in my lesson plan, so I kind of just put it up on the board real quick. And yeah, that was pretty much it for our first day of school. It was kind of nice just teaching the same thing each hour and seeing how it did differ. Again, depending on your age of students, or even if you teach middle school, you could still do all this with middle school. All of it's just going to take a little bit longer. I would say this is a great idea for middle school or high school science. Thank you for watching. If you want any of the resources I showed in this video, you can shoot me an email. I'll leave the email in the description box below. Leave a comment down below if you're a teacher as well. Let me know what you teach, or if you teach science, that's awesome. Thank you for watching. Bye. Look at that, Grumpy. You look beautiful today with your white beard.